just checking my news source and I noticed that Femi Otedola is really in the news again today. And he's been it's been technically dragged to, dragged in the public. And I don't know why, for whatever reason, Femi Otedola has been the postal man. I would say postal boy, but let me put it as postal man for the fuel subsidy scam stuff. Now, there is no confirmation, okay, that he stole any money. So this has been, in the open. There's been a lot of investigation, but we've not really had it go through the normal court process. So I think now it's serving everybody a very good purpose for him saying, you know what, I'm going to go to court and I'm going to lay this thing out there. So what led to this? Shortly before now, there was someone, I think it was the vice president, the special advisor for the vice president, Nambo Sandy. And I think he came out to twist facts saying that Femi Otedola was actually involved in the subsidy scam. So here is this full publication with respect to that. He said, my attention has been drawn to a mischievous and malicious publication written by one Umar Sani. So it was just a written text. Okay, a former special advisor media to the former vice president Namde Sambo attempting to twist fact and drag my name into disrepute, an allegation of complicity in the subsidy fraud. Yeah, we all know that Otedola has been in the news, and it's not a news for us, right? The daughter got married, and then you have him come up with this book, making it big. Now, this publication alone can even dampen whatever impact and effect that book has, because, like, how do I expect to make it big if I don't steal? And that's the old story. How? How do you expect me to make it big if I don't steal? So again, there are two things. If truly is complicit in the fraud or was involved in the fraud, then it's one issue, right? Then you can't claim that the book, is giving you everything, because in that book there will be nothing about subsidy fraud. So you have all that cloud. So I think what Otedola is doing right here is good, because he then wants to go out and take it to the court of public opinion, where you can do discovery, where you can put this guy on the stand. You can also put Femi Otedola on the stand. Umar Sani, if he makes it to discovery, can demand to say, I want to see this document, I want to see this, I want to see that. Again, this is not a 2025 issue. This thing has been brewing since the subsidy protest that we had in 2011. So anytime you see subsidy, even though there were other people that stole, we knew what happened between the people in charge of the petroleum ministry during that time. But then, just one way or the other, they just try to drag this guy into it. I'm not saying that he's involved or he's not. I mean, that's what him going to court will let us know. So number one, he tries to address that case, and he says that, well, his insinuations are false, baseless, and a shameless attempt to pander to lies and rewrite history. Okay, let us set the record straight for the overall benefit of the designing public. For the 1001 time, I want to set the record straight. On claiming from the SPSF, which is the Petroleum Subsidy Fund, Xenon Petroleum and Gases was wholly an importer of trade and trader of diesel with a market share in excess of 90%. Again, in a functioning democracy or a functioning a functioning country with a good economy, this is crazy. Why would you have a company, that had a market share of 90%? And that was one of the things that people say, was not even right during the Obasanjo time. Why would a company have 90% of all of the diesel imported in a country? If that is not insanity, then tell me what it is. Anyways, I digress. So it had an excess of 90%, never traded in PMS. PMS is normal petrol. So it was solely in diesel, more like a monopolist in the diesel market. And such could not have claimed subsidy for petrol. That's what it's trying to say, because diesel was long deregulated. So we had, diesel was fully deregulated at some point, and it was just more of the subsidy in petrol. So if Otedola was selling diesel, how would he have claimed monies from petroleum subsidy? And that's what he's saying in this is first point. Diesel had long been deregulated. I've read that PMS, which is petrol, was the only product that was eligible for claim under PSF. Yeah, we said that. And yeah, what else is he saying? So it's therefore shocking that someone like Umar Sani, who occupied a position of authority and responsibility, could display such ignorance of basic industry fact in public. I view this as idle mischief and taking advantage of the uneducated. Talking about uneducated public, there's a lot of them. Okay, there is a lot of them. Or abortant, oh, whatever that word is, display of gross ineptitude. If diesel did not fall under subsidy regime, how can Umar Sony then accuse Xenon Petroleum and Gas Limited of impropriety under the subsidy regime? Okay, yeah. Let's go to court. I can't wait to even have this in court. Because really, to be honest with you, this was 1 point something trillion as far back as 2011. 2011. Do you know how much that money would be worth now? And then on exposing the subsidy fraud, I was a member of the Good Luck economic team, the one who first alerted the I was a member of the President Goodluck Jonathan economic team. I was the one who first alerted the president of the monumental fraud being perpetrated by economic saboteur in the PSF scheme. Okay. But when he called the Minister of Petroleum, she denied it. That's Alison Madueke. Alison Madueke, as she rightly notes, she's no longer in Nigeria. She ran when Buhari took over. Because the fraud that woman perpetrated with the people under the Jonathan era is part of what has culminated to the mystery that Nigeria is facing today. So you've got to understand how the building blocks stand. And then when Buhari came, he had no clue what he was doing. Then you had all this subsidy fraud now ballooned and became a major cancer to the nation. So she denied it. So he's saying that I told Goodluck. And again, Goodluck didn't even have what it takes, to be honest with you. Goodluck didn't even understand governance. Goodluck didn't understand good governance, per se. And it was also one of the bad luck that happened to Nigeria. No pun intended. But when he called the minister, she denied it, saying, with my strong determination to stop the economic malaise and bleeding, I called Senator Bukola Saraki and reported the fraud to him. Again, Bukola Saraki, I don't know what he did to that. He took it to the floor of the Senate, and from there, the House of Rep began the investigation. Now, we all know what happened to that investigation. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, what do you expect from the House of Rep? I mean, this is the same House of Rep that Obasanjo just said they are full of thugs and robbers, right? And we know how that went. I'm going to play some clip on that one because our famous guy, Farouk Lawan, the audacity of fraud that happened under him is nothing to talk about. Yeah, so these statements are alive and my assertion above can be corroborated if necessary. If I was complicit in subsidy thefts, would I be the one to raise the alarm and blow the whistle on myself? Well, I don't know. But again, it's plausible and that might be true. Yeah, so this guy, Farouk Lawa, I did intern him just a few seconds ago. When it had become public industry knowledge that I was the whistleblower on the subsidy fraud, some of my perpetrators decided to fight back by using the House Committee on the Probe, headed by Honorable Farouk Lawan, who tried to indict me without any basis. As they always say, it's only natural for corruption to fight back. Oh, I didn't even know that it was a blew the whistle at the time. All I knew and the narrative that the news gave us was that Femi Otedola was actually involved and they wanted to find a way to, to indict him and nail him on that issue. Okay. So that being said, as the House Committee on the Subsidy Probe was now being manipulated by the subsidy fraudster and thereby, we still don't know the full extent and who this subsidy fraudster were. Yeah, I don't know. And thereby turning the probe in panel into an extortion racket. When the harassment and blackmail became incessant on my person, I petitioned the authority and worked with the DSS. So we're going to see how this guy, Farouk Lawa, was framed. I don't know if it was framed or if it was actually being a sting operation. The money was provided by the DSS, duly marked and handed over to me under security surveillance. I then gave it to Farouk Lawa in the in line with the sting operation. This is on record. Twist that carefully documented operation into an indictment against me. It's laughable and only exposes the ignorance of Sani. Like, I don't even know who that is. You may be aware that Honorable Lawan was subsequently convicted and sentenced for 5 years of imprisonment for bribery. The facts are very clear in public. On the Agboje Haigimokwede, so Haigimokwede, that was the immediate past, I think, CEO of Access Bank. I implored President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to release the full unredacted, I added that redacted thing to it, unredacted, the full Agboje Haigimokwede report on subsidy fraud, as Nigeria deserves, okay, to know the truth. It's on record that the presidency at the time called on the late EFCC chairman, Ibrahim Lamode. That one was also complicit in some corruption stuff to have the investigation. Okay. What? It's on record that the presidency at the time called on the late EFCC. Was that not Goodluck Jonathan? To out the investigation. What? Let a report be made public so the real subsidy thieves can be unmasked. Wow. On AMCON, well, there's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot to talk about. Okay, so on AMCON, the allegation and insinuation about my involvement with AMCON, and again, a demonstration of mischief and ineptitude on the part of Umar Sani. I wonder why someone would twist publicly available information to miseducate the populace. I've never hidden the fact that I suffered financial loss from global economic meltdown of 2008, resulting in huge debt exposure to the financial system. The loan was sold to AMCON. I in turn gave up my asset worth hundreds of billions of naira to settle my obligations under a court-ordered settlement. It is on record that AMCON itself publicly commended my approach and told other debtors to follow my example. Yeah, this is already litigated in the public. This is already in his book. Everybody knew that, at some point there was a huge tsunami that hit Femi Otedola's business. And apart from even let's forget about the book that he wrote recently. There was a time that he actually had all these things documented in the public sphere for anyone who wants to read and listen. I think then he was talking about selling almost 70 something houses. Now, I'm not going to litigate, the wealth, maybe born rich and all of that. That's not my focus. My focus is out of every major billionaires in Nigeria, Femi Otedola has been the one that has been able to articulate his journey when it comes to finances, how he was able to move, from one point to another, how he made huge losses, he made huge miscalculations, is all documented. I'm not litigating the sort of wealth. I'm not litigating all those other things, all the mafianism around stuff and all that. No, what I'm talking about is the wealth, his process, how he started his businesses. Maybe he got some juicy favor from the government of the day. That's up to you to litigate, to be honest with you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what is out there in the open, talking about his huge losses, how it bounced back. Again, it's all a process. It's all a journey. Now, that being said, he said he sold his assets. He tried to settle some of those liabilities sold to AMCON. And I remember then that not just Femi Otedola, a lot of all these billionaires went into huge financial tsunami and losses because of what happened. So again, this is not just Femi Otedola. This is the reality of financial situation then that happened. That was when this guy Eratos Agbola, or this Intercontinental Bank CEO, also had issues. That was when this woman was Cecilia Ibru, also had issues, right? Some of them were removed unceremoniously by Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. So you have all of the story, you have everything that happened then. A lot of rich people could not recover from what happened in 2008. There were issues of insanity, death, destruction, because 2008 was once in a lifetime, economic tsunami. And people that were really unnecessarily exposed, during that time, they paid the ultimate price. Some of them did. So again, I kind of agree with Femi Otedola here. It is it's on record that AMCON itself publicly commended my approach. Yeah, and told other debtors to follow my example. Court records are there for anyone seeking the truth to investigate. AMCON officials from that time are also alive to confirm the truth. Okay, I even address this matter in my book, making it big. Yeah, I've not read the book, but I think that would be the center of that book, really. And I think what's more interesting to me that I would, if I actually try to grab it, I'm going to order it and read it, is how he was able to make those humongous losses and actually recover. And again, maybe you weren't born to a rich family, maybe your parents were in that well to do. That's not an excuse for you not to grab the book. If you could get one line of wisdom, that one line of wisdom can actually change your financial fortune, and your financial story. Again, that's where I'm. So now Otedola is really raging. Is really, really, really mad at this guy. So he's saying that libel action. Because of these deliberate lies and unfounded allegation, I've instructed my lawyers to file a 1 billion lawsuit against Umar Sani. People must learn, and they must learn that reputation and not to be toyed with for cheap propaganda, and also to serve as a deterrent for other mischief makers in the future. I'll go to every extent that this is achieved. Now, in Nigeria, if you want to libel someone, just have a 1 billion saved somewhere. Yeah, that's a new reality. If you want to libel someone, if you want to talk bad about someone, just go to GTB, go to Zenith Bank, open an account there, and just put 1 billion there. Because right now, nobody's joking. Like, you can't libel someone and say, I'm going to sue you for 50 million. What's that? We need a 1 billion lawsuit to even start talking. That will cover legal fees. That will cover all of the logistics. That will ensure that you can get the best lawyer in town. And that's it. And again, that 1 billion is just minimum, because if it's found liable, okay, then he has to pay for the legal fees that Otedola might also have incurred during the whole process. But again, I'm saying, okay, that it's also very, very difficult at times to prove defamation and libel. So number one, you have to be able to prove that Umar Sani actually knew that it was a lie that he was spewing out there. And then number two, he still went ahead and spewed out lies. And so those are the two contrasts, okay, that needs to be proved. But to Mr. Sani and others who peddled half naked big story, go and read my book. This guy must always sell his book. He must always sell. I don't know. Like, the marketing behind that book. Like, look at the time the daughter got wedded. He still went ahead to sell the book. And like, you know what? I'm going to give, isn't Mr. Easy, or what's his name now? I'm going to give you a gift. Okay, where's the gift? I was thinking it's going to be. Then he gave him the book, making it big. Now, just one lesson from that. I think he believes that you can change your financial fortune when you read that book. I'm serious. That's his belief. And you can always, question it, you can agree with it, you can deny it, but I think that's his belief. He believes that if you read the book, you might, there's no guarantee. And I'm not saying go grab the book. I've not read it, but I've seen some snippets from it. So, but that's it. I have nothing to hide. I have always acted in the interest of truth and accountability. Those who benefited from subsidy fraud knows themselves, and I will not sit back and allow falsehood to be written into history. Wow. Okay, look at comments. Sue the political jobber, dude. Let him learn in there. Let's report on source. Exactly release this report. Like, it's been for Okay, so my son is saying there's going to be on Arise TV 3 p.m. to respond to this allegation. The courts are institutions in Nigeria of good conscience should ever fail to approach. So it is on Arise TV at 3 p.m. right? And that's see. Okay, yeah. 3 p.m. Okay, so I'll be waiting to watch his response to that, and I'm gonna provide you well, person wants to 1 billion. Well, person wants to 1 billion, clown. Yeah, I mean, let's see. It's on record that the presidency at that time called on the late EFCC chairman So yeah, let the report be made public so the real subsidy tips. I mean, this is more than 10 years that you've had that report, and nothing has been done. Yeah. Evo was involved in the subsidy in 2011. I want to tell you for a fact, was also involved in the subsidy fraud that happened during Buhari. And what happened during Buhari, what happened during Jonathan pales when you compare that to what happens during Buhari. I'm telling you. I'm not joking. Because during Buhari's time, it was as if the floodgate of subsidy fraud was made open. That Buhari was so incompetent that he had to be borrowing money to pay subsidy. That was what was happening. That was really what was happening. And it was a shame, that we allowed that to happen. It's crazy. But anyways, that's what it is. I'll be waiting for that interview. Let me just bookmark this. I'll be waiting for that interview, and let's see what happens. Right? The bomb. It's on record that the presidency at the time called on the late EFCC chairman to out the investigation. That presidency was Goodluck Jonathan. And I see people coming out now and say, oh, they wanted to remove subsidy during Jonathan. He didn't allow them to remove subsidy, blah, blah, blah. What happened and all that? Sorry. Jonathan didn't even know what he was doing. Jonathan didn't know what he was doing at the time. His incompetence was what gave rise to another incompetent person who was Buhari. And Buhari messed it all up. Way, way, way even more further than Jonathan. And people will be like, oh, and Jonathan is coming out right now. People are like, we need him back. I'm like, dude, are you out of your mind? Do you even really know what happened during his presidency? That his presidency was what set the stage on the mystery that would follow, because he had the best oil and gas price globally. I'm talking about crude oil. He had the best reserve that any presidency could be handed over to. He had the best reserve from Obasanjo. Okay? During Yorada's time, you had the reserve go up, and then they started using it to defend the Naira. When the 2008 crisis happened, and from him, enjoying one of the best oil prices to one of the best economies being added over to him, he messed it all up. And we're still paying the price. We're still paying the price right now. So when you look at your infrastructure decay, when you look at the deficit on infrastructure, don't just come open your mouth and start saying, oh, Tinubu government bad. No. Go to when it all started. I'm not saying you shouldn't, question the Tinubu's government. I'm just saying, go to where it all started. And maybe if you go through that first principle, you understand that there's been decades of neglect, decades of abandonment, decades of lack of caring for the people. And don't let anybody come out to you today to come and just, bamboozle you about the whole truth, about what happened at the time. You've got to be able to think for yourself and understand that the problem we're facing as a country today is not just a one-day thing. It's been decades, multiple decades. We had to fight the British. We had to fight the military. We had to fight the politicians. Most politicians are as evil as military. So that's where we are today. And again, it says, please take him to court. Make sure he shows evidence. Yeah. Show your evidence, show your workings, and let's see what happens. But that's it. Now, for those of you asking, Farouk Lawan, this was actually the whole thing that happened at the time. I have the audio. So this was, I think, around 2011, 13 years ago. That's 2012, right? 2011, 2012, if I'm mistaken. This was the audio recording that nailed Farouk Lawan. And he would later go to prison because of that. Because he was the one investigating and was collecting bribe and collecting money. Let's see.
Yes, I don't bring it to my house.
Now the audio is not too clear, so just bear with me. But you have the transcripts.
Okay, you take it to your house? No, I don't have to bring it to my house. It's a lot of money. Yes. So where? Because I'm rushing to the airport now. Yeah, they're at the airport in the aircraft. And before they can come over now, unless I send somebody to the airport, Just coming, I can't, by the time they come, I should be in the chambers. I have a lot of things to do myself. Is there anybody you trust I can give it to? Or maybe I should just, or maybe I should postpone my China till tomorrow? No, it's okay. I would arrange with someone. Let me give you his number. Okay. Yeah. Okay. His number is 080. Hold on. 080. 36. 51. 33. 55. What's his name? Yeah, TJ. Sorry? TJ. TJ. No, TJ. TJ. Okay. Yeah, TJ. I'll give him the balance. That's $2.5 million, yeah?
And in today's value, that's how much? Yeah, that's a lot of money. Okay. Yeah. I'll continue. I need to just take a breather now, and I'll continue. Okay.